Hey, what's up, everybody? Morning. Happy Saturday to everybody. It's a nice sunny day here. I hope wherever you are have good weather too. And yeah, man, it's all good here on this side. So peace and power to y'all. Thank you for joining me as usual. Whether you can catch me on the playback or you're gonna join me live. Y'all know I don't be on here for long. Some of y'all do these some long streams. I can't keep up. I don't have that long of attention span. I just come here to talk my nonsense and get off. Yeah, today I want to talk about these fake pay-per-view stars in boxing. I was listening to some interviews there by what's up, John Dealey? How you doing, man? Hey, John, if you want to get on with me early o'clock before I get off, let me know. Here's the link. So I was in some interviews with some boxers, people like David, Benavidez, who seems frustrated that he can't get no big fights or whatever. And he's talking about Jamal Charlo and he's talking about Caleb Plant and all these people. But it's interesting with David Benavidez, right? Because it was David Benavidez' team who were the ones talking about they want to marinate the Caleb Plant fight. It was his team. Now Benavidez apparently, well, not apparently, but he lost the belt on the scales. Now he has a sense of urgency. I guess he realizes how easily shit can be taken away from you if you ain't serious. But he raises a very interesting point about people like Jamal Charlo who just talk a lot on TV, just run their mouth a lot. Jamal Charlo had his one pay-per-view against Sergey Deverenchenko, and it seems like Jamal Charlo is willing to ride on that forever. He's willing to ride on that forever. The pay-per-view didn't even do that good. It did like under 200,000. Of course, people want to pump it up to over 200,000, but it wasn't over 200,000. I know people are calling people like Jamal Charlo and them pay-per-view stars. You got people like Tank Davis and these guys doing 300,000 and 200,000, and that's supposed to be a pay-per-view star now in boxing. These are the people that they're calling pay-per-view stars, right? Morning, Mr. Dealey. John, you there? You hear me? All right, whenever John comes. Hey, morning, boss. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm okay. I just had the other tab open. I was trying to, I don't want to ruin your sound quality.
What happened to your sound quality? What happened? You sound
no,
funny.
No, I had two tabs open, so I was just shutting it down. Sorry.
Oh. Okay, well, let me just continue. So these days,
it's done now anyway.
Right. So these days in boxing, you got people who are doing like 200,000, 100,000 all this in pay-per-view buys, and these people are stars, right? These people are supposedly big stars. I'm a pay-per-view star. You just throw that name around, and I guess in America, if you say it enough, people will believe it, right? So one of the things that I keep hearing in boxing is that America is where all the money is in boxing. America this and America that. And America is where all, American fighters need opportunities and all this BS, especially from these PBC protectors, right? What's up, Ronald Finkley? How you doing, bro? Right? And they keep telling me how much the American fighters, would do on pay-per-view, and this guy would do so well. You got people out here saying Sean Porter needs this because him and Terence Crawford are going to do big pay-per-view numbers. And I keep wondering, well, what big pay-per-view has Sean Porter been a part of? These dudes throwing out these numbers. And then you look at something like UFC 259. UFC 259 was headlined by two non-Americans. Well, unless you call the other guy who Adesanya was fighting an American, but I don't know if he's really an American or not. So two guys were not really American like that. Israel is from Nigeria. I think the other guy is Polish, I think. I could be wrong. But neither of the two are very popular guys. And this pay-per-view did goddamn 800,000 buys. Apparently 600,000 domestically. and another 200,000 globally. And again, I remember these same people saying about the zone. Well, why does the zone depend so much on global buys? Because combat sports is, in fact, an international sport, and these people can't see past their whole insular narrow-mindedness, that they don't realize that all these people that you're hyping up are not pay-per-view stars. The UFC has a bunch of non-Americans doing big numbers in America. Boxing has a bunch of Americans doing nothing. And for some reason, they keep calling these people pay-per-view stars. They're the A-side, they're this, they're that. And I'm urging people to stop, because you're hyping up all these foolish dudes, Tank Davis, Jamal Charlo, Wilder, even Tyson Fury calls himself the biggest star and whatever. And this dude don't do shit. But somehow in boxing, anybody can be a pay-per-view star. I need to know how the UFC that keeps doing pay-per-views with non-Americans managed to outdo boxing with all these Americans. John Dealey, what's up, man?
Well, I'm not much of a. I don't really know anything about UFC. I don't really like it, if I'm honest.
Right.
But with what you're talking about in America, it seems that they're more concerned about a narrative than fighting people. So, in the past, America was, without question, where all the money was in boxing. But in the past, the top boxers just fought each other. People weren't waiting for fights. Fights happened. People weren't worried if you lost. They were concerned about how you came back. And from what I understand, that's the way that it is in UFC. People lose. People don't care. They want to know what they're going to do when they come back. And I think the key thing, if you look at people in boxing that are successful, they're the people that take on challenges. They potentially lose, but they come back and they win again. So that's always been the case with any combat sport. In fact, any sport really. People want to see people fight the best, and you can lose and lose well and come back, and it shouldn't be a problem. And as for this idea that you're a pay-per-view star just because you've been on a pay-per-view, I've never heard anyone say Golovkin was a pay-per-view star when he was posting those 125,000K buys. There seems to have been some number manipulation a bit as well. So I think some of the numbers around the 200 mark are actually a bit inflated. And it just, they seem to equate being on pay-per-view as being a pay-per-view star, where it got to the point where the only person who was still a pay-per-view star was Canelo, because he could fight a non-name and get 400 buys. And then you've got Spence versus Sean Paul. So what was that supposed to have done? 200 or 250?
Around there.
That is not a pay-per-view star. That's a poor performing pay-per-view. You know, that's like half of what Canelo does when it's not a unification title fight. That was a unification title fight, and it did 250,000 buys in a country that has what? How many people are there in America? 400 million or something?
Yeah, about 400 million, roughly.
It's just pitiful. It's because I think part of it is the cost of the buy has killed the market, and I think the other issue is people aren't getting the fights they want, so they've lost interest.
Saif Bud, how you doing, man?
It's all good, man. Good morning to you fellas, man.
We talking about fake pay-per-view stars, man. What's up? What's on your mind?
Well, I dig where you're coming from, man. You guys really got to realize that in America, man, boxing is not popular anymore, man. Not even in the slightest. You know what I mean? And if I had to really guess at it, man, it's like it must be a lot more money around the fights rather than the fights themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because boxing kind of turned into a damn soap opera in the States, man. It's more about you know, the interaction with the fans and stuff like that than the actual events for the most part. You know what I mean? And the fact that boxing isn't centralized like how it used to be in America. You know, you used to have like HBO boxing, and before then like Wide World of Sports and stuff like that. But like it's so like it's not really a place where people can go to be like, okay, I'm gonna go here every Saturday night or every Friday night and check out a boxing match because you know they're gonna be playing it. It's just it's so fly by night in America. You know what I mean? The casual boxing fan can't even stay engaged, bro. So um, I think they're doing the whole fake it till you make it type thing. You see a lot of people, you know, taking their chances at pay-per-view because the networks don't want to take chances on the fighters in the events because don't nobody know these people, man. Even the guys that you guys like, you know, over on your side, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, he's a good fighter, and you know, we like him. People don't know him, dog. Like people, the average American sports fan, they know the bench players of, you know what I'm saying, of the Lakers more than they know, you know, championship fighters that come from America. So, I mean, for the most part, it's really that, you know, the networks don't really believe in boxing. It's like, it seems like it's just running off of sentiment at this point in time. So they fake it until they make it.
You know, it's interesting because I think Ronald Finkley said Bruno Pacquiao was only like 400,000 and it was a limited promotion. And most of that was because of Pacquiao. Pacquiao is a very loved guy. And why people love Pacquiao? Because he fought people. Bruno fights people too. Don't you know, and Bruno's exciting dude, but Pacquiao fought people and he built a name. And that's what a lot of these young dudes, everybody wants to fight Pacquiao because they want to write off of Pacquiao's name. But the problem I have is that the pay-per-view star disease, the plague that we have right now, is preventing fights from happening because you got dudes out here crowing about how much buys they did here and you ain't did this. You did 100,000, I did 300,000. Bro, that's not even feeding the network to put that out for neither. And it's like it's preventing fights from happening. People walking around here, I'm A side, and I think Saif Bud said it just turned into a soap opera. I'm following discussions on Twitter sometimes. I just kind of look and just read what people are saying. And these dudes really out here defending people, as Saif Bud said, like people don't really know. You talking about Tank Davis, and it's like Tank Davis is more known for beefing with people on Twitter, right? And you got this dude, Ryan Garcia, who people like, who's more known for Instagram. Yet somehow I got people telling me him and Tank would do 1 million something pay-per-view buys. I'm like, based on what? Based on what?
They're not going to fight anyway.
Nah, they're not going to fight.
There's no way those two are fighting each other.
Social media foolishness.
But I think there's a bit of an elephant in the room as well. All these guys we're talking about are in the small weight classes. When boxing was at its height in America, they ruled the heavyweight division. And that's the weight class that engages the casuals. And
yes.
You can't build a huge marketplace in a country as big as America with just one heavyweight who's like a belt holder. You need a consistent 80% of the top 10 best heavyweights to be American, like it was in the past, I think, to get the Americans interested again.
But how
when Saif Bud's talking about they know the bench of the NBA better than they know boxers, in the 60s, a lot of those guys would have been boxing because there wasn't the same number of players playing in the 60s NBA. There was hardly any players playing. If you listen to Bill Russell talk about it, and he's asked about certain players, he says they wouldn't have been in the NBA. There weren't enough spots for them. They weren't good enough to make it.
I'll match you even farther than that, man. Like, you know, since you bring it back to the 60s, America just is culturally just different as well, too, man. You know, as you already know, in America, man, like the access to firearms is way more ready and available than it is, you know, in other places around the world. So I mean, and it's grown more and more so over the decades, man. So I mean, the average kids don't grow up like fighting like how they used to, man. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the great A lot of the great American champions came up from street fighting. You know what I mean?
The two on my avatar, dude. I don't know if you know who those two people are.
Say it again.
Can you see who's in my avatar there?
Yeah, you got Liston and Foreman, right?
Yeah, well, that's how they got started.
Yeah, bro, that's a certain type of breed, man. Like with the whole like you know, just different changes is going on in the West or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't breed that type of people, those type of people that much anymore, man. So like it's not as a competitive, like the streets ain't as competitive like that. You know what I mean? As far as you know, hand to hand like that anymore. So you got to breed those type of cats, man. And you know, it's pretty much, you know what I'm saying, America making its bed, man. And it kind of, you know what I'm saying.
But when you look at a lot of American heavyweight boxers, they've failed at another sport before they come into boxing.
You mean as far as this century?
Well, no, currently. So Wilder's a failed basketball player. Brazil's a failed football player.
Yeah, as far as this century.
No, but that's what's happening now. That's what. Oh, you mean the 21st century?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No,
so
it's
like
on that basis, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it was at one point in time where, you know, you would be a boxer by trade, man. Like you know, you had heavyweights that would be groomed, you know what I'm saying, from, you know,
but they were much better paid than, well, to start off with, for African Americans, it was pretty much the only sport they could compete in for a long time. And then by the time the 60s came along, it was a sport where they could make the most money. Now, it just doesn't even get close to playing in the NFL or the NBA, does it? It's not even remotely near.
Not even close. But I'll tell you like this, though, too, man. America's not going to invest in boxing unless we win it. We're not going to invest in anything that we compete on an international level in unless we can win. You know what I mean? So until
but don't you think that since sort of the 80s, it's the amateurs that have slipped, that stopped you competing in the professional ranks?
Yeah. And the lack of interest in Olympic boxing as well too. You know what I mean? Like all of that stuff, I think it all plays a part.
Well, because I mean, I was thinking about it the other day, if it would even be possible to do in boxing what they do with the other sports. Because I mean, if you want a way out of poverty in America, you can get a degree through sport. So in the UK, if you're a talented soccer player and you don't quite make it, you probably won't have an education. And that's closer to boxing, really, in America, isn't it? If you don't quite make it as a boxer, as a talented amateur, you've probably had to sacrifice your education to do that. Whereas in the other sports, it's the reverse. It's like if you don't quite make it, you probably can still walk away with a college degree.
Yeah, boxing is pretty much it's all or nothing type of investment, man. You pretty much going into boxing if you don't really have another option. You know, if you're a blue chip basketball player, you're gonna say fuck boxing. Like it's not even a thing to even think about. So I can agree to that.
Because the amount of times I've heard people say, and I don't know enough about it because I don't really watch basketball, that LeBron could have been a very good heavyweight boxer. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but I've heard a lot of people say it.
I don't give people that type of credit because I mean the fact of the matter is it is a sweet science, man. You have to be knowledgeable enough and skilled enough to do the stuff. I mean, athleticism isn't going to be enough to make you a great fighter or even a good fighter.
I mean, I've heard people say he would have been a good American football player, but not.
Yeah, I definitely heard that. He did play football in high school.
He did play football. Too. Boxing takes a different vibe. You know what I'm saying? You can't just, because you're athletic. But what I'm saying here is, because we spoke earlier about, you said pay-per-view pricing. The UFC raised their pay-per-view price by $5. ESPN,
how much is it?
It was $64.99, now it's $69.99.
Isn't that still less than boxing though?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
ESPN Plus also raised their pricing. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So apparently, ESPN Plus will also raise their price for annual ESPN subscriptions, up in the cost from $59.99. Up in the cost to $59.99 from $49.99.
Son of a bitch.
That's still less than DAZN in America, though, isn't it?
Difference
This
is
is still less.
like
It's less. It's less.
120. Yeah, that's what I'm
Zone
saying.
gives you the fights, just like that ESPN Plus, you still have to pay for pay-per-views, which was strange for me because I'm like, well, I thought if you have ESPN Plus, the fights will just come on like organically, right? I didn't know that you still, if you had ESPN Plus and there's a big UFC fight or a boxing fight, there's still a pay-per-view cost you have to pay, right?
I know that's true for the UFC. I actually haven't seen any. What was the last pay-per-view for boxing on ESPN? Like I haven't seen that in a minute. I mean, they usually just come on the app.
Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford fought who? Amir Khan? Wasn't Kell Brook pay-per-view?
No,
Nah,
Kell Brook wasn't.
Amir
that was
Khan
on regular TV.
Yeah, Amir Khan was.
Yeah.
I think those numbers are hidden in some sort of vault somewhere.
Yeah, it was.
Because I don't think the numbers were too good.
See, that don't make sense to me. Why you have me subscribing to this app, and then I don't just get the damn events? I still have to pay on top of that for something else.
Well, I'll tell you like this, man. I actually, as far as me being the safe side, man, I actually appreciate the apps more than the apps from the Zone and Top Rank. I appreciate those more than having to pay a pay-per-view from PBC every single time it's a decent fight coming on. You know what I'm saying? They actually put on a very long card with Top Rank. You know what I mean? You get a very large undercard every time, you know what I'm saying, they put on an event. So I can't really complain about them too much. You know what I'm saying? But the pay-per-view thing is definitely out of hand. So yeah, it seems like especially from PBC. And I'm not no PBC hater, man. I know some cats, you know, they low key do the game banging on the promotional outfits and whatnot. But I really don't care, man. I'm going to wherever the fights are. But I really think they're really forcing the hand of boxing fans to be like, man, do I really want to even support, you know what I'm saying, all these pay-per-views that are somewhat meaningless? I mean, look at the Ruiz and Areola. I'm pretty sure it's a demographic of people that want to check that out. But I mean, I think you do a lot more for both of those fighters by putting on regular TV. You know what I mean? Blowing both of their, well, I'm not gonna say both of their brands. Areola pretty much spent, but you do a lot more for Andy Ruiz if you just put him on TV and just, you know, take a chance on him, man. You know, it's a pretty big fight for the Chicano demographic in America. You know what I'm saying? Cats want to see that. I don't mind seeing that, but I definitely ain't trying to pay no $80 for
it. In America, the Mexicans are really behind that fight. Because I've always had the impression that neither of them have actually done very good numbers. And that the Mexicans don't take too much notice of the heavyweight division because they've never really ruled it like some of the smaller weights.
Well, Andy Ruiz made them take notice because when Andy Ruiz beat Anthony Joshua, that gave him a lot of eyes, which also might be it might be a blessing or a curse for Andy Ruiz because they're gonna expect a lot from Andy Ruiz now. So he can't.
He is a good fighter if he puts his mind to it. Of
course. He's a good fighter.
He's got Eddie Reynoso with him, so he's got a good trainer now. And he's got a very easy tune-up, so after this, he's got no excuse. But I'm just surprised anyone would want to actually pay to see that. I think Southpaw right about if you just put eyes on it, if you just gave them the exposure, you helped to build up Andy Ruiz as a name that people knew because he's just on normal TV. But I've heard people saying that they don't think Fox is interested in putting PBC fights on, so they're being forced to put them on pay-per-view. Because Fox have been disappointed with all the numbers that they've done so far.
Exactly. And if you look at it, they haven't dropped the schedule yet. You know what I'm saying? So they really just they just flying by the seat of their pants, man. And the fact that they want to make this and possibly the Tank and Barrios fight.
They could be on the way out. If they put everything on pay-per-view and they keep bumming and fighters are asking for a lot of money, it's not sustainable.
They played their hand too early, man. They paid a lot of these fighters so much money up front so early, and now it's like it kind of, I don't know, it kind of bottlenecked they path to success, man. Because now it's like you can't go back on paying them. You know what I mean? You damn near got to wait for a whole nother crop of fighters. You know what I'm saying? To lower the pay wage.
They're kind of doing that because the frequency of the fights for most of their top fighters is coming down to nearly one a year.
And that's not healthy for the fighters, man. They got to stay active.
That's not remotely good for any fighter. And also, it's aging them out. So maybe that's the plan. What you just
somebody that's we're talking about the fake pay-per-view stars and all this nonsense that's happening, because I've been told before that pay-per-view in boxing is the way to go, and America is the big market for boxing, and if you want to make big money, you gotta be American boxer. But I'm seeing UFC putting on fights with non-Americans.
What are the
And
international numbers on UFC?
the last UFC 259 did 600,000 domestically in America, and they did another 200,000 globally. And so it's like I'm really wondering, man, because and then you're gonna be told that people who are doing 200,000 and just under 300,000 are pay-per-view stars, and they're the A side, don't make me no offers. And it's like, so I'm not gonna see these fights because dudes is if Dana White.
The thing is, as soon as they start saying, "I'm the A side, make me an offer," they're the B side.
Right.
As soon as they start talking about how much money they want, that's the B side. The
But
A side sends offers.
What I realized though is, because the discussion last night that really brought this on was this dude talking about it was really about Jamal Charlo, and I was watching the discussion, and some dude brought up Benavidez and Andre, and this dude was like, "Why should he fight Andre? Big fight Andre. Eddie Hearn don't make no big fights, whatever." And I'm like, these dudes seem more proud of the fights that their favorite fighter frustrates. So they're proud of Jamal Charlo because he don't make this fight. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they need to come to PBC because PBC, it can make more money on pay-per-view. I'm like, how you know? How you know? Why are you so, well, the thing was, Jamal Charlo has been on pay-per-view. Andre and Benavidez really have not like that. And it's like, but that doesn't make Jamal Charlo no star.
Well, I'll tell you like this, Con, real quick, bro. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to young American fight fans, they're usually like fans of other sports. You know what I'm saying? You take certain type of ethics that go along with other sports, and you try to put them in the same metrics of boxing, and it don't work. You know what I'm saying? A lot of like American football fans, like they're more regional type of fans, and then you got NBA fans. They're usually like a fan of a certain player. You know what I'm saying? They'll follow this player from this team to that team to that team. And, the way that, boxers and the way the sport of boxing moves, they're not really even accustomed to it. They're trying to take these same principles from other sports and try to put them into the metrics of how people judge boxers and fighters. And the shit don't work. And they kind of throw everything off. That's where you get all this deflection from. You know what I'm saying? It just cats don't really know what's up.
Well, that actually makes a lot of sense to me what you've said there.
Yeah,
particularly it would seem that the people who do the most annoying stuff, to me anyway, are NBA fans, because it seems to be they'll just follow who they're a fan of, and it's more about point scoring in social media than worrying about what they actually do in the ring. And I suppose with basketball, an individual player can be good individually, even if they don't win.
Exactly. You know what I mean? That's where you get the whole man fan thing from, and all that type of thing like that, man. It's like and the protection. You know what I'm saying? When the fans start becoming the damn security guards for the fighters and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? They want to see they fighter or their athlete do good, and that's all fine and dandy, man. But boxing comes with a different element, bro. Like it's more on the fringes. It's more coming from the bottom.
In the old days,
they're not really aware
in the 40s, when boxing was the most popular sport in America, a boxer who was undefeated, the boxing writers did not trust them to be any good. They thought that they'd been carried. They were just suspicious of anybody who'd still got their own, because boxing was so competitive, and they wanted to know how you would come back from adversity.
Well, it just seemed like to me these fake pay-per-view stars, they're stopping fights from happening, bro. And it just seems like to me that boxing, like boxing in the zone tonight is gonna be nice, but then you got dudes who vehemently won't watch this fight somehow, and it's like, well, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand the calculations. I don't understand. Like, I'm paying $2.99 American a month. You know what I'm saying, for the zone, and I get to watch this fight, right? Y'all want to charge me $80 and $70 to watch bum fights, like, and it's like y'all are like,
you're paying what we pay more or less in the UK, in the Caribbean for the zone. Then we pay $2.99 sterling a month,
right?
So we're paying slightly more than you, but I mean, it's not a lot.
But it's like people want me now to see it their way. And I see Rick Glazer say that pay-per-view is where you test how valuable. If that's the case,
I think that's just shooting shots at Karissa Shields, to be honest.
Yeah. He's whatever.
He doesn't like women's boxing, does he?
Yeah, he doesn't like a lot of things. He's a real prick. But anyway, let's say I buy that way of thinking, and a dude, which in Teofimo Lopez took his chance and he saw how much he was worth for this time. But if pay-per-view is where you actually test how people view you, how much people care about you, then bro, you can't be out here telling me you know star with 200,000 people in a country with 400 million, and only 200,000 people care to see you, and you're a pay-per-view star.
Well, when Canelo was on pay-per-view, 400 was seen as very poor numbers. Like, that's right. Pacquiao fighting Broner, 400 is not good numbers by Pacquiao standards, are they?
That's right.
Well, for the current time in boxing that it was in, I mean, it was decent for boxing numbers. Nobody was doing $1 million at that point.
Yeah, but wasn't Canelo regularly doing around 750? And when he did badly, wasn't Canelo regularly doing around 750 when he was on HBO?
That's what I'm saying. That's a whole different network. You know what I'm saying? Like HBO. That's when boxing was. When HBO boxing was active, man. In America, boxing was way more centralized. It was a lot more easier for the casual fan to sit up and watch it. That's why the welterweights was so great.
I've got a question for you about that, because in the UK, Sky dominates the sports news. So just generally, people who have an interest in sport will watch Sky Sports News. So Sky is able to promote boxers much better than BT Sports, because they use the Sky Sports News as a platform to just pump out any fight that they're trying to promote. Whereas BT just don't have that platform to promote in the same way. Is that what you're saying is missing in America with the way that it is now?
No, not really. All right, in America, like right now, if I want to go watch a fight, either I'm gonna watch it on some form of a Fox network. It might be regular Fox, might be Fox Sports, might be FS1. You know what I mean? Or I'll watch it on I watch Showtime Boxing. You know what I'm saying? Or I'll watch ESPN.
Do you have a platform?
Hold on. My whole point is this: is that if I have to I'll change the channel because I already have an interest in boxing, but the average American doesn't have an interest on boxing. So when they see that, they only see a fight on Fox, on regular Fox. If they only see that maybe like 2 times a year, they're not gonna be as interested. They're not gonna be up in tune to what's going on.
Hold on, John. Let me finish up. Go ahead.
No, but go ahead, man. You got it. Go ahead. Go for it.
Okay, so this is kind of what I'm saying though. So in the UK, if you're just a sports fan generally, you don't have a particular interest for boxing, during the week, instead of watching the news, a lot of sports fans in the UK will watch Sky Sports News, and it's a channel that's on pretty much all day. So people can have it on at work, people watch it after work, people watch it in the house. And so when there's a fight coming on and they're promoting a fight, it'll be in your face every hour. They'll be doing a slot on the fighters. They'll be promoting it and promoting it and promoting it.
That's,
so
all right. I just want to insert real quick, and I'll let you finish. That's like the equivalent to ESPN in America. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to keep that in reference. But keep going.
No, because that's kind of my question. I wanted to know if you had a platform like that, because
We do. And imagine if Sky didn't cover boxing, they covered every fucking thing else. That's ESPN.
Sky do. They do cover everything else.
All right,
They cover horse racing.
How much
They
a
cover
percentage does
soccer.
boxing get on Sky Network on a regular 24-hour basis? Like, what's the percentage you would say that the boxing gets as far as
I
coverage?
haven't watched it for a long time because I don't really watch TV much anymore at all. But
all right, so where do you get your boxing news from?
Well, just the internet and online, because it's easy, isn't it? But as a channel, and I know it still does this because I know lots of people that still watch it. I just don't happen to do it. They have a constant news stream, and it's a channel that only has sports news on it. And it'll have horse racing, cricket, rugby, athletics, football, boxing, Formula One. Any sport that they can cover will be on there. But what they will do is if there's a fight coming up, they'll have a slot on it every hour, even if it's a 5 or a 10-minute slot. So BT Sports, which is the other platform that shows Premiership football in the UK, they just can't compete with that. So BT boxing numbers compared to Sky Sports numbers are very poor still. And it's because Sky has that platform to just put stuff in people's face. And it's aimed at the casual fan. It's what they do with it. So does ESPN do that at all? Or do they not really bother? Or is it too spread out in America? I don't know how it works.
Well, I would say no, not to. I wouldn't say not to the same degree. If it's a big fight on, all right. Just for an example, let's look at the Valdez and the Bichelle fight. You know what I'm saying? Not that much coverage on like regular TV on ESPN side. You know what I'm saying? But if you compare it to maybe they did promote the Loma and the Lopez fight pretty good. But like you're not gonna on an average like from Monday to Sunday, you're not gonna get that much boxing being shown. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's like just like considered a big historical fight in some type of capacity. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, Sky will
10%.
just shamelessly promote their own fighters, even if they're not that good.
I'd say 10% of I can't even say 10%, bro. Maybe 7% of the and this is even recently. 7% of the coverage on ESPN, you'll get boxing.
Hey, John, let me be clear, right? When you go on ESPN's website, if you want to find boxing, you got to go up to sports. Then you're going to click other because it has basketball, football, baseball, all them sports. I think cycling is on the main page. But if you want to find boxing, you got to go to other. You got to click other. And when the drop-down menu comes on, boxing is like 6 or 7 down the list on ESPN.
Facts.
The only boxing coverage ESPN really gives is like Max Kellerman does his little piece. And that's really it. They don't really do a whole lot for boxing. And which is weird because Bob Arum likes to use this selling point that the reason you sign with Top Rank is because Top Rank is signed with ESPN and he has the biggest bullhorn in America because ESPN is owned by, I think, who is ESPN owned by? Like Disney? And Disney has other stations that we can cross promote on and all that. And you don't see none of that. You don't see.
But Bob's a dinosaur. You see, Eddie's got in there and he's got Sky doing the work for him. So if you listen to like a boxing channel that's based in the UK, they'll refer to the Sky machine, and what they're actually talking about is Sky Sports News, because it's just a constant stream of news. I don't think it's 24 hours, but it's pretty much from 6 a.m. till like midnight or whatever it is. It might even be 24 hours. Just a constant stream of news. They've got WWF on there. They've got everything on there. But what they'll do is they'll just keep putting their own fighters in your face so you know who they are.
What I dislike though about this whole thing about these fake pay-per-view stars is that the fighters themselves. It's all well and good that your man fans are doing all this crowing, all these fanagers, but the fighters themselves are buying into this nonsense, right? The fighters themselves are the ones who are up and down talking about pay-per-view this and pay-per-view that. It's like, bro, y'all, you ain't no pay-per-view stuff. So you can't expect a lot from your fans. Your fans are gonna be your fans. But you, the fighter, have to. There's a certain level of delusion in some of these guys' minds where they really won't fight. Like I see, like my guy Gary Russell, who's about to make his appearance, and I still need somebody to explain to me Gary Russell's career. I need somebody to explain it to me because he don't do pay-per-views. Does Gary Russell do pay-per-views? No, he don't do pay-per-views. And then he comes out and he fights these sort of nondescript fights. And then he goes away and then he just doesn't accept no other fights. So, you know, he has a pay-per-view star mentality and he's not on pay-per-view.
I mean, it is prize fighting, man. Maybe he don't really need that much of a prize from boxing. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he just go in there for his own certain reasons or whatever. You know, he got brothers. He got his brothers that he trains and manages and stuff like that. I don't know how much his mind is actually on actually fighting.
But don't you think it's partly as well because Al Heyman's looked after them too much? They're not actually hungry for success.
Come again?
So from what I've been told is that Al Heyman, he doesn't just give you money. He'll set you up with a house. It's like when you get a record deal, they'll give you that 360 contract where they just make everything comfortable for you. Right. So they're not hungry.
That could be the case. You know what I'm saying? That definitely could be the case. At the same time, too, you know, I think they could fight a lot more than what they wanted to. You know, earlier. You know what I'm saying? I think they kind of lost. I think they kind of took some of the fight out of them. But I think that the fact that they left a lot of money on the table. You know what I'm saying? And that makes you lose ambition too. You know what I'm saying? Like whenever you get out of this, whenever your money ain't the right type of way, you know what I'm saying? Take your mind off of fighting as well too.
I got you, man. But hey, man, this is just a quick thing I wanted to do. I'm glad y'all came on with me and gave me y'all opinions. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. I'm about to hit this gym real quick though, fam. Thanks for having me. Y'all have a good one, fam.
Yeah, peace, safe. John Dealey, I know you're a gym guy yourself. You gonna do any sit-ups and pull-ups today?
No, I'm an early morning trainer. It's afternoon here.
You don't have that disrespectful picture. For all who don't know, John Daly has a picture. John Daly has a picture where he's showing his shredded abs. And I feel away because I haven't seen my abs ever. So I don't. Please, you see, that's what he does. He shows his picture because he in shape, and I'm not. But all right, John Daly, have it your way, sir. John, any words you want to say? I mean, tonight, big fight tonight. I'm sorry Saif Bud left though. I wanted to talk about quickly the whole Karissa Shields and whatever debacle because she's also one of these people who has the pay-per-view star mentality, it looks like. Sorry, if Saif Bud, you still there, come back in, bro. I missed the topic. My bad. John, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Karissa, if the numbers that are being put out there are correct, that's the worst case of A-sideitis in the history of this fake A-star, A-side pay-per-view star nonsense. They're talking about 30,000 buys or 20,000 buys, 25,000 buys. And it was only $30.
I don't understand. Like, hey, Saif, but if you're still there, you could come through, bro. I want your opinion. If anybody else wants to get in also before I leave, I wanted to touch this last topic. This really was supposed to be on. I'm sorry, Saif, but Karissa Shields, I think I said it on my last live, that the short one where I said Karissa Shields is, I don't know if it's really her or if she's cultivating a persona, a heel persona. And you commented on it, John Dealey. It's fine if you want to cultivate a heel persona and you want to have that mentality. You want to have that, that look in the public. But when you just being a heel and there ain't no face to play off of, people just don't like you because they don't have anybody else to like who they want to see beat you up. You don't have no face in America that people actually want to see fight. There ain't nobody in America that Karissa Shields has to really worry about. Nobody. There ain't no personalities there that people want to see fight Karissa. So Karissa Shields is cultivating a heel persona based on what she perceives she's valued. And I think she's valued a lot personally. I think she's extremely talented, but really, you can't have a pay-per-view star mentality right now.
I don't know who's managing her, but what I don't understand is why she doesn't want to sign to Eddie. It doesn't make any sense. It's like Eddie is constantly promoting women's boxing. Like today, you've got a rematch of the undisputed women's welterweight division. Eddie had already put on an all-female card in the UK before Karissa did it. Eddie's constantly signing female boxers. And she can be as much of a heel as she wants. Eddie will use that to promote her. It's fine. I just don't understand. Yeah, I've seen that Karissa Eddie beef. I mean, I don't know. As part of that beef, Eddie said, there's a fight tonight. You're welcome to come. And hopefully we could talk about a contract. So why doesn't she just try and arrange a meeting and try and get the money she wants?
I don't know.
It's like she's trying to price herself out so she doesn't sign with it.
But bigger fighters than her have signed with Eddie, not even signed with, but signed alongside signed partnership deals. I mean, she's promoted by Salita Promotions.
Salita can work with them, yeah.
But Eddie Hearn has dealt with Salita before. Big Baby Miller was a Salita fighter.
Exactly.
Right? But I'm saying, like, you're in America. Well, if you listen to Ring IQ's interview with Rick Ramos and McCaskill, Rick Ramos said, because I know you mentioned that Eddie Hearn has put on all female cards, right? But Rick Ramos said he doesn't think it's a good idea to put on all female cards because it somehow devalues the purses of the women. And I didn't understand.
Well, it might do in America, but Eddie could headline it with Katie Taylor. So and he did it. He did it during the pandemic anyway. So he was just trying to put fights on. I don't know how they got paid. I don't know how it went, but I know Katie would have got paid okay. But she was happy to take a pay cut because it was in the bubble. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think it depends who it is. Like Katie can headline a card. She's generated enough interest to do it by fighting everybody. I think it was she fought Pursoon when she was heading the all women's card. I think.
Right. Yeah.
It's like that. It was genuine interest in that fight.
Is that when Courtney fought Rachel Ball?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like there was Eddie had already put some work into building up those fighters, so they're known here, and it was promoted well. So this is why I don't understand why Karissa doesn't want to go over there. You know, if Cecilia Breakhouse is happy to come across, like Cecilia Breakhouse has sold out stadiums in Norway. She's huge. She does massive numbers over there. And she's happy to go and work with Eddie, and she genuinely is rich, like and achieved a lot.
I got Mr. Unrivaled.
Good afternoon, fellas.
How you doing, sir?
Afternoon.
Doing well. What time is it for you, Con?
Well, it's 10:58 here.
Why are you on Eastern time? Are you like 5 hours behind us?
No, he's +1 on Eastern. He's -4 from us.
We don't change our time for daylight saving. The time is the time. That's it.
Okay.
There we go. What are we talking about, fellas?
Well, right now we're on. The topic was fake pay-per-view stars in boxing stopping fights.
Yep.
And right now I was closing out, but then I remember that I wanted to add in the Karissa Shields, who I think has this pay-per-view star mentality without being a pay-per-view star.
I agree with you.
And I'm confused. Hold on, I got somebody else coming in. Battle Rifle. Okay. John, you were saying
Yo.
something? Is this Battle Rifle?
It is.
Oh, what up, bro? John, you were saying something, and then Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I was only really saying that I just don't understand why Karissa thinks she's too good to work with Eddie when Cecilia's happy to do it, and Eddie's actually trying to promote the women on big platforms.
So, Mark, the thing is that we were talking about was people with pay-per-view star mentalities who are not pay-per-view stars and who pride themselves on the fact that I've been on pay-per-view, I'm a star, but I'm not going to make the fights with you because you're not a pay-per-view star. And I think Karissa Shields has a pay-per-view star mentality. I'm not quite sure what it is. She's cultivating a heel personality, but you can't be a heel without a face, right? Otherwise, you just come off an ass.
Yeah, she doesn't have any competition to build any pay-per-views, to be perfectly honest. Like in most of the divisions, they're quite lackluster, 154 through 168. All she's really got is Savannah Marshall, and even then, that's not really a pay-per-view, you know? Every chance she gets, she's constantly bringing up how she's an undisputed or two-time undisputed now, two-time Olympic gold medalist, all this stuff. And I guess because of her achievements, if this was a male fighter, they probably would be on pay-per-view. And I think she feels like she should be entitled to that too. But the reality of it is there isn't that built-in viewer base for her, especially in America. There isn't one. So
I think that's also overlooking the lack of competition as well. Like for most other divisions, even in women's boxing, in the lower weight classes, it's harder to become a 4-belt undisputed. It's harder to become a double Olympic gold medalist. And from a competition point of view, she's a big fish in a small pond.
Hold on. Battle Rifle, you were saying something.
That was my bad. I went on mute for a second.
Oh,
I just wanted to say I can't really be overlooking the level of opposition, John. What my very first statement is, she doesn't have the opposition around her.
No, I didn't say you were. I just mean generally she is. The way that she's
by
putting
what she's
herself
saying.
forward.
I get you. Like, I can understand her thinking, like, agreed, because, like, boxers are egocentric anyway.
Yeah, that's all well and good, but when you've got a promoter like Eddie offering her to come to the fight tonight and say, I want to do a deal with you, why does she think she's too good to do that? That's the bit that doesn't make sense. I don't mind the ego. I don't mind the heel. It's like Eddie's trying to offer you a multi-fight contract, and you're trying to price yourself out on social media. I don't. That's the bit I can't get my head around.
I don't know. I think she thinks Eddie's willing to pay her a certain amount of money, and she's trying to essentially haggle her way up and up and up until she gets to near enough that point. The only problem is I don't think he's willing to lose money on her just because she's her. So
yeah, but I mean, why not just go to the meeting? It's like he's trying to have a meeting with you publicly, and you're trying not to have a meeting. That's the bit that I just don't understand. It's like you could turn it down. Like Eddie's pretty flexible. He lets Dillian fight on a fight-by-fight basis. He'll promote people who've got their own promotional companies, and he'll offer you a multi-fight deal. And like, who else is doing anything on any major platform for women's boxing?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it has something to do with, like, she's trying to marinate, like, the meeting as well. Like, I really do. I think she wants to marinate the Savannah Marshall fight, because I think if she goes with Eddie, I don't think she wants to fight Savannah right now, John. And that's
but I'm not sure
pretty
Eddie wants
much
to fight her right now, because that fight needs building. Like, people don't really know who Savannah Marshall is.
But whenever you bring up Karissa Shields, you look at Twitter. For an opponent, what's everybody saying on Twitter since we're talking about
But
social
but,
media
but those are
publicly?
hardcore fans, aren't they?
They may be, but nobody knows anybody else she's fighting, so she won't get that money anyway. That's the only way.
No. But I think Eddie knows how to get someone to cross over. Like Katie is pretty much a crossover star now, isn't she?
I disagree with that entirely.
Do you?
I do, yeah. Katie's numbers on Sky Sports, like she does a lot of support, but on that build that she did where they cracked over 1 million viewership and whatever, you need to remember that was also free view via YouTube, and that took up the brunt of the numbers.
So it wasn't Sky Sports subscription viewers.
No,
Okay.
a brunt of 70% of it was the YouTube live feed, and that needs to be taken account of.
No, it doesn't.
Hey, Battle Rifle, you there, man?
I'm still here. I'm just listening in.
Yeah, so the conversation really was because I was following some quote unquote discussions on Twitter last night, and they were talking about the whole debacle with David Benavidez. Apparently, he's frustrated or whatever. But I was quick to tell somebody, say, let's not forget it was David Benavidez's team that said they wanted to marinate the Caleb Plant fight. But what we really were talking about was the fact that, of course, these were apparently Jamal Charlo fans, and they were talking about how why would Jamal Charlo fight either Benavidez or Andre when neither of them have been on pay-per-view, but Jamal is a pay-per-view star. And I asked him, well, based on what? He's a pay-per-view star based on what? And they were like, well, because he's been on pay-per-view and they haven't. I'm like, so because somebody's been on pay-per-view, no matter how shitty the numbers are, they're a star? And they started telling me pretty much, I mean, that's just the numbers now. Tank with his 300,000, people getting 200,000, and that's pay-per-view star now. I was told that in America, that's the place to go for pay-per-view. It's the most money to be made there. But I'm seeing the UFC putting on cards with Adesanya and Blachowicz, his name. And I don't think either of them are American. And they're doing 600,000 buys in America and 200,000 buys globally. And I'm not seeing boxing doing that at all with American fighters. What if it doesn't matter? But you have these pay-per-view stars who are blocking fights openly because they feel like they're special. So I'm trying to figure out, where does this mentality come from? And I mean, how are we going to stop it? Because pay-per-view stars, quote unquote, are killing boxing. I don't understand.
Which guys were you talking to? Like, where did you, like,
no,
where did you?
I'm observing a lot of Twitter convo and whatnot, a lot of Twitter, like boxing Twitter. I'm just observing the convo. I'm just like, bro, what are y'all even talking about?
Well, odds are you've spoken to people that just probably don't look at the numbers all that much. Odds are they just look at pay-per-view and think that he did really well. If you wouldn't have told me, I would have thought Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia did really well until I actually looked up the numbers and found out it didn't do all that well. So if you would have never told me,
all that well, it did not.
Apparently not. It only did like 300 or no, I think less than that. I think it did like 250 or something.
Damn.
But maybe I'm wrong, but I think it did. It didn't do all that well. But if you wouldn't have told me that, like, I have a certain YouTuber I watch who usually looks at the numbers. His name is Goodfella Sports TV, and take my word with a grain of salt because I haven't looked at the video in a long bit of time, but I think it was less than 300K. So I think with the people you're talking to are mostly the fans that just don't look up the numbers. They think, well, pay-per-view, so big star. So it's kind of their way of justifying Charlo not fighting Benavidez. They want him to more than likely they want him to have the Canelo fight before Benavidez because that's a fight that should have happened years ago.
You got a situation like they're trying to push Tank because you see, one of the things too is that in boxing, I think John and I think Saif Butter was here, where it's like creating a narrative where if you keep saying somebody like Tank is a pay-per-view star long enough, people believe he's a pay-per-view star. And when you keep saying that, the fighter also believes that. And the fighter then starts saying, well, I'm not going to fight you because I'm a pay-per-view star.
I don't understand what the end game with it is, though, because they're not selling any pay-per-view buys. So I don't understand how they're actually getting any money out of it. This phenomenon definitely happens, but I don't really understand what the point is.
I think the point of it is it's a weird one, but like bear with me on this, is like calling them pay-per-view stars, right? That the goal is to give them the mentality that the pay-per-view stars give them a certain amount of money so they can make a certain amount of money each fight, right? Like a solid amount, like when you look at Charlo or whatever, and you're not losing money on them because you're underpaying them in a sense.
Okay. So
they lower the amount of expenditure on the fighter that they're paying. So the fighters think they're pay-per-view stars and they're not getting pay-per-view purses.
So what you're saying is by inflating their egos, they're actually accepting a lower purse and taking easier fights. I know it's not costing the network a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at least it's a logical argument because they're clearly not going to make any big money out of this approach. Because the only way to make big money is to do big numbers.
Last time I remember, a pay-per-view star was also rich, right?
Also, maybe, I mean, I guess just the whole persona, but it's just disappointing because you have fans who are cheering on fighters for not making fights because this person's a pay-per-view star. I'm like, I'm not sure I can keep up with boxing no more. Because I'm seeing, like, if Dana White did 300,000 buys, he'll lose his mind. I mean, he can't deliver these 300,000 buys to his new owners. He can't deliver that now and act like that's a success. But why is it good enough in boxing? I just don't understand. Boxing seems to have occupied the space of, as Saif Bud said before he left, of a soap opera more often, where they live in this sort of fantasy world. And it's just disappointing because tonight you're going to see, if you have a DAZN subscription, a fight for for me, $2.99 American, two fights that I want to see, Breckus and McCaskill, and the Estrada versus Gonzalez fight. I want to see them fights. That fight might have been $80 somewhere if they actually put it on pay-per-view. And Eddie Hearn was asked, well, why only you? And he said, because I was the only one who paid the money. So nobody wanted to pay for a fight of this caliber in America, but they want you to pay $80 for Arreola and Ruiz. So I don't get it. I don't get it.
It is crazy. It is crazy.
That fight, it doesn't. I don't think that fight warrants $20, honestly.
Battle Rifle, you were saying? Sorry, Battle Rifle.
I said I don't think that fight warrants $20, honestly.
Which fight?
Areola and wait, is it Areola and John? Wait, is it Areola?
Areola and Andy Ruiz, Battle Rifle.
You say
$20? Huh?
$20? You don't think it's wow.
Not really. When's the last time Chris Areola fought? If it was somebody like Dillian White or something, maybe, yeah. Like $20 y'all pay for Dillian White versus Andy Ruiz, y'all pay for. When was the last time Chris Areola fought?
Against Adam Kovnatski.
Which was 2 years ago.
He got beat up bad too. 1-2 kid.
Hey, what's up? Sorry. What's going on, Carl? What's going on, chat? What's going on at panel? How you guys doing?
Yeah, what's up?
I'm not gonna be on for much longer. I was supposed to be gone a while, so I just wanted to get your opinion, 1-2 kid. Fake pay-per-view stars blocking fights. People who call themselves pay-per-view stars and they not.
I don't feel like. I feel like it really bothers me that the fans can justify a fight not happening. Like that tells you right there that there's something wrong. Like it's like, what are you a fan for? To not watch a fight? You know what I'm saying? Like, this dude don't need this amount of, or he don't need to give this man this money and all that. I think it doesn't make sense. I think we kind of losing our way. You know what I mean? because we basically want to watch these guys fight, and when you start justifying the guys not fighting, that doesn't make any damn sense, you know. As for Karissa Shields, like I get where she's coming from. She does have the accomplishments, but you know, maybe she's holding out for some sort of app deal or whatever, but it doesn't make sense because I think I think Eddie Hearn is a good promoter, and I think it can only benefit her if she does go that route. And I do like about it. I get it. What these guys are saying that there's no competition, but technically that's not her fault, you know. And if she's sky levels above the competition and she wants to smoke, I mean that should be a good thing. But the audience isn't going to clamor for it because she will whitewash these people, and you know, that's why I think going with probably Eddie Hearn would be a good thing because he could promote these fights a little better and he could push them out there a little better. You know what I mean? What's up?
I just want to ask you this: like, how hard of a sell is it to sell fans a fight when you say this is an undisputed world title fight, right? And then you say between them, there's 27 fights, 2 knockouts.
I've been saying this for a long time. I've said it on Rings panel a lot. The lack of highlight reel for Karissa is a problem. Because if she had a highlight reel to go alongside those accomplishments, at least she would seem exciting.
Right.
That is a very good point. I said that yesterday. The lack of knockouts is very prevalent in women's boxing. Like I don't know if they had more knockouts, even if, okay.
I think they need 3-minute rounds. I think it's actually really hard to knock someone out in 2 minutes.
Yeah,
that's
it is. It is. It's a very good point. Because you got to set them up to get that. It gives you more time to get them out of there, especially if you're skilled like Karissa. That would definitely benefit her. But as for the promoting part, I would say, a highlight reel, man, a good editor could make a hell of a highlight reel and make a guy look like a knockout artist that's so-called feather-fisted. You know what I mean? And then that can make somebody more eager to want to watch them or maybe even appreciate the skill set a little more and keep their eyes open for other things. You know what I mean? And that's what I think Eddie Hearn has. I think he has that pizzazz, that spunk to really push her a little bit over the edge. You know what I'm saying? To help her out, give her that good push. I think it would benefit her, being that she did accomplish things. Because I get where she's coming from too. When you get all those accolades and you don't get the money, and then you're like, well, she's a woman, and that's what they do. They go into that thing. I'm just saying, like, it with a little push, I think it could benefit her. You know what I mean? It could just benefit her. I don't see why she wouldn't go that route unless she's holding out for a bigger money deal. But in the end, it might work in the beginning for a short period of time, but there's no longevity in it. To have a good promoter is just definitely the way to go.
Anywho, gents, I'm gonna close this down.
I'm
actually taking my son to the beach in a little bit, so I gotta go.
Enjoy, man.
Yeah,
prepare myself for that. Is this kid gone? Anyway, man, y'all have a nice day. Peace and power, y'all. Enjoy the fights later if you're gonna watch.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us on, Carl.
Yeah, man. Peace,
Later, Mark. Better Roger.
Hey, thank you to y'all in the chat, man. And thank y'all for coming on and giving me a couple minutes of your time. Saif Bud, thank you for coming on. John Dealey, 1-2 Kid, Battle Rifle. Battle Rifle never been on my stream before, and I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Ronald Finkley, Lisa Bales, Boxing God. D, you came too. You didn't stay long, man. Who else came to? Toby. All the MXBC dudes. I realize MXBC don't really rock with me, but that's all right, man. Peace out. Y'all have a nice day.